Howdy, Redesert Boy here. Hey, I just wanted to take a moment and talk about where the heck has Redesert Boy been. So, I had a chance to go along with my daughter to help her. She had to go up north to her university that she goes through online in her graduate program she's working on, actually a doctoral program, and to help her do the driving. So we went up to the Northwest, went up into Spokane, Washington, went to St. Mary's, Idaho, and traveled across some other areas I'll talk about in a minute. But I got to see some family, got to support some families going through some medical issues and things. And so, you know, I just would urge you, you know, you get a chance to go. My daughter's in her 30s now, and I'm older, I'm in my 60s. You got to take advantage of opportunities sometimes to spend time with your kids, you know, when you can. I just have the one, so it just was the trip I got to make with her. That I had made a similar trip with my dad like 42 years ago. So I was a little younger, and so was he. But so in my 20s, I think Dad was in his 50s. But you go do those things because it's your one chance to do them. Once again, when I talk about things, these are my thoughts and opinions and things. I'm going to talk for a minute about what I did when I was going on that travel in relation to this my hobby, you know, because I'm hobbyist and enthusiast. You know, these are just my thoughts and opinions. You need to follow all the local, state, and federal firearms laws, CCWs, training, permits, all that kind of stuff. So going on this trip, of course, the main focus was just spending time with family, because there was family I saw when I got up there, along with traveling with my daughter and things. But in planning this trip, it was like Washington State, where I was going to be at on July 1st, their laws changed. This is where you need to kind of read up on things. Plus, there's no reciprocity with where I live at in Nevada. There is in Idaho and Montana and Wyoming and Utah, some of the other states I went through, as far as some of the things that I could do relative to having firearms. You know, you need to research those out yourself for travel, make sure that nothing's changed and that local laws are not different. But I did all that, but Washington has no reciprocity, so going up there I had to make sure, like when I go to California, you know, that I'm following all the rules that they have. You know, a lot of times states have rules where you have to, you know, lock your handgun up, the ammo can't be with it, can't have any mags in it, can't have any ammo in the chambers and all that. So you need to research all that. So for my purposes, Washington also had a law change on July 1st, and I was going to be up there, where they no longer allowed magazines, believe, in excess of 10 rounds. You have to check it out yourself to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So because of that, you ask yourself, why would you buy any guns nowadays that don't have these, you know, standard capacity of like more than 10 rounds? You know, most of even your mini or micro compacts and stuff have 10 and 13 and 15 or 12 or 11 or whatever magazine capacities. Well, for myself, traveling up there and following the rules, I knew I wouldn't be able to carry when I was in that state. And I also knew that I had to have a way to secure everything properly when I was traveling and while I was up there. So what I take with me? Well, I took my Colt Detective Special, about as basic as you can get for a firearm, which I'll show you is empty. There's no rounds in it. 6 rounds, 38 special, and I brought this outside the waistband holster with me for it. It was a DeSantis holster that I really liked for it. Of course, I didn't use that when I was in Washington, because I don't have the proper permissions for that. And then I also brought, you say, what about semi-autos, right? They all have larger capacity. This is where having my old Springfield XDE, which is an empty magazine. As you can see, the gun is empty. It's a 45, and it has a 6-round magazine, and I also brought a 7-round magazine, which I carry in a Gideon pocket carrier, right? For when I was, you know, because there were places where, you know, using the permissions that I had, reciprocity, following any reciprocity laws, and the state laws that I was in, you know, there might be a possibility I could carry. So I wanted to make sure I had that ability to protect my family. I also brought for the revolver, you know, here we have the K-clip, you know, Zeta 6 speed loader, and this is more standard HKS speed loader. But just something to think about. If you're going to travel, you might ask yourself, well, why do I have these lower capacity, as you might say, or standard capacity revolvers, or, you know, what were maybe before seen as compacts that are single stacks, like the old Shields and things like that, or like my XDE. These might be useful to you, provided you're willing to follow all the regulations and laws and everything, should you choose to bring something like that with you, as I did. For me, that was my choice to do that. But just something to think about. So, as you can see, I had this hat that I bought, but I bought another one because in our travels, we decided, because I'd always wanted to go to the Cody Firearms Museum, okay, at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West. So we traveled over into Montana and over into Cody, and then returned back to Nevada. Just one other quick point. I don't want to confuse people. I want you to understand Cody is in Wyoming, and Wyoming is a beautiful country. Nice thing about Cody is it's right next to Yellowstone. Because of the recent flooding, fortunately or unfortunately, you know, there wasn't as much traffic for us. Fortunately, it's picking back up for the local people that depend on it. But that was a great trip I made with my daughter that my dad and I had made, going to Yellowstone and Grand Teton. My daughter and I just went to Yellowstone, but getting to go see Old Faithful and all that, like as I did with my father, was great. So I just really encourage people to visit the Mountain West and the Northwest, and just really enjoy, you know, nature if you're not getting a chance to do that. So through Utah, we were in Montana as well. We spent a night in Montana on the way up. So very scenic travel. Really makes you appreciate how much open space there is and how much wilderness there really is still. And like I said, it's just a good opportunity to spend time with family that I visited with up there, and I supported, that was in, you know, medical, you know, kind of need moral support for medical stuff going on, and to be with my daughter on a trip. So anyway, hope you're having a good summer out there. Be safe out there, as Reed Desert Boy always says. You know, be safe out there, whatever you're doing. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye now.